Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, getting your week started off right, and no better way to do that than with the Don of all broadcasters, Don Fischer. Had such a busy weekend this weekend. I know we're always lamenting how busy you are, and you. Oh, that's right. You didn't have to do jack squat over this weekend. No, I'm just kidding, man. How was the weekend off, so to speak?
It was relaxing, to say the least, after a couple of weeks in which we had 5 different shows or games to get ready for the last 2 weeks prior to this weekend. So, yeah, it was relaxing, and we had a good time, and we played a little golf yesterday. So that was really cool. That's probably the last day we're going to have a chance to do that.
Yeah, well, we said that a couple times, but this weather keeps popping up nicely enough to give those opportunities. And you mentioned those multiple shows and things, and the preparation for all those is why everything's always changing. So there's so much new information that's always coming that that you're able to give to people, but that has to be absorbed and taken in when it happens at that quick of a manner. And so, but now when it does it, then it's the opposite. Now you've got to find some things to look at, but it actually gives you a chance to go back and reflect on things. Just before we came on, or you joined me, I was talking about Indiana basketball and how, man, they have just got to do something about that rebounding, because teams like Purdue that I watched that at first I didn't think were going to be as good as maybe they are. They're pretty damn good. And rebounding is just going to be one of those areas that Indiana has got to fix, because it's going to absolutely destroy them in some games.
Well, here's the problem with that. This roster that Darren DeVries was able to put together this year, they try to get other guys, bigger guys, stronger guys, all those kinds of things in regard to rebounding. What they got was the best that they could do under the circumstances. Right. And he got a good roster. There's no question about that. But you're not going to fix everything when you have a brand new roster. You're not going to fix everything the first year. It's just that simple. And yes, they've got to rebound better than they have in a couple of these ball games. But my belief is this team, and I think we've seen this the last 2 games out, I think this team tends to play a bit to their competition, a little bit. At least they did in these last 2 ball games.
You've got to admit, Don, these when you add that to the fact that you've got a game at 6:00 on a Tuesday against Lindenwood,
and nobody's showing up.
Yeah, and nobody in there. It's just like, wow, it's a recipe for sleepwalking.
Well, Kansas State will not allow this team to sleepwalk and play and win a ball game, because they have a really good ball club coming in tomorrow night. There's no doubt about that. They are 5-1. They got beat by Nebraska by a single point. Nebraska is a very good basketball team this year. That's better than they have been. They've kicked Indiana the last 2 years. We know that. They were able to beat Kansas State by a single point. My belief is that Kansas State is the next really tough test for this ball club. And I don't think there's any doubt that if fans don't show up for this one, it's the energy level is not going to be what you want it to be, but I believe this team's energy will be. I don't think there's much question about that. Look, I've lamented the fan base at times through the years, that this is a fan base that's rabid and all those kinds of things. But when it comes to some of these lesser games, so to speak, you don't have everybody in there, and the energy level is not what it needs to be on a continual basis. So our fan base needs to wake up to that fact, and this team needs that. This team plays off of that a lot. You can tell. They also play off a lot of adversity. They play some of their best basketball when it's expected that they have to play hard. And they play hard every time they go out on the floor. If you looked at the Lindenwood ball game and you looked at just the stats, you would sit there and go, Indiana played pretty daggone good. I mean, they held Lindenwood to 18% shooting in the first half, 25% shooting in the game. That's playing hard at the defensive end of the floor. And maybe your shots aren't falling like you'd like them to. especially for a couple of different guys in this ball club right now. But that being said, the way these guys continue to fight, there is the last two ball games have had a little more disjointed. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Just hasn't seemed to be as cohesive, maybe, or the ball hasn't moved quite the same way. We'll talk more about that with Darren DeVries tonight on Inside IU Basketball with the coach, because we have a show tonight at Hoosier Hanks at 7:05, and we hope that you can join us then, because there's no doubt. I think Coach DeVries, he's recognized that what's happened in the last two ball games a little bit, and maybe some changes will be made in that regard too. I don't know, but I do know this. This is a good basketball coach. It's a good basketball team, and this team is going to get better as the season goes along.
Yeah, it's he seemed to be a little surprised by it because of how they had been practicing, and I've got to tell you, anytime I have personally seen this team in practice or whatever, they played hard. That's been their calling card, and so yeah, again, I don't know the reason for it, so I'm not going to try to come up with one. Who the hell am I? I'm not the one that's in there, but I can just see it, as we all can. But it's not like out of 35 games that they're going to play that we didn't expect this to happen, because it happens with every team almost every year.
Right.
And this is the time. I mean, they're maybe they're looking ahead. I don't know. They've got Louisville, Kansas, Kentucky on the schedule, some big games, Kansas State. Maybe they were looking ahead. I don't know. I can't tell you that. Again, I'm not going to pretend to make up an answer, but I don't think I've seen them play too many times. I know how hard they play. I know what's in their head. I know the mentality. So I personally, if I were a fan or looking at it from a fan, I'm not going to worry about them playing hard this season.
No, that's not going to be an issue, because that's the one thing that they do every time they walk out on the floor. They play hard. They may not play their best basketball every ball game, but they play hard and they play intensely. I just think right now the ball needs to move a little bit differently than it has here in the last couple of ball games, and we'll see. I think this Kansas State game will be a real test for them, and I think there's no question that Kansas State's capable. They have 5 players scoring in double figures, and a kid named PJ Haggerty, who has been lights out shooting the basketball for this ball club, averaging, I think, he's hitting 41% of his threes. He's averaging 28 points a ball game. He's got a high this year already of 37. So this guy can light it up, and Indiana will have to pay attention to him. But the rest of this ball club from Kansas State is really good as well. So this is going to be a real test for this Indiana ball club, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and I think part of it, Don, is not hitting when they're not hitting threes. Maybe sometimes they lose a lot of confidence, when instead of that, they're going to have to learn to fight through that and do other things, because there's going to be plenty of nights where they're not hitting threes, whether it's on them or on the defense, but they're going to have to learn how to win through other means.
Well, here's the other thing. This team is so much better than what we've seen in the past several years on turnovers. They're averaging 9 turnovers a ball game, just under 9 turnovers a ball game at this point through the first 5 games. That's remarkable compared to what we've seen in the past. I mean, last year's team averaged around 12 or 13 turnovers a ball game, and they had some games in which they turned it over 23, 24 times, that kind of thing, which you can't have. This team takes care of the basketball. It's going to be a grind in the Big Ten. There is no question about that. And once you get into Big Ten play, that's when you find out really all about your basketball team. And so this is all a trial and error type period of the season, because you're trying to figure out what you've got, what you don't have, what you've got to improve, those kinds of things. I can't disagree with the rebounding aspect. I think that's going to be a critical thing for this ball club. But it's going to be one of those things in which, they're going to have some games where they struggle in that regard. They're going to have to make it up in other areas. And not turning the ball over is one of the ways you do that.
It's bucket week, Don. 12-0 on the line for this Hoosier football team. Not only that, You've got the leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy. What a season it's been for you, for the Hoosiers, for the fans. And now this gets to culminate potentially with a 12-0 regular season over the Purdue Boilermakers, which would make a lot of Hoosier fans happy. But it's the next game, number one, and it is the opportunity to go 12-0, which is a huge, huge mark for this program before they move on to the next big thing, the Big Ten title game.
It's historical. There's no question about it. Indiana can have won more games in the regular season than they ever have in history. So obviously back in the days, they were only playing 10, 11 ball games, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is to go 12-0, if they can beat Purdue on Friday night this coming week, there's no doubt in my mind they will win that ball game, but you got to play it. And you never know about rivalry ball games. It can always turn on you very quickly. There's no question this football team had, both teams actually, had a bye week at the right time for each. Purdue had their bye week this past week as well. Both teams are beat up pretty good. Indiana needs to get some pieces back. I'm hoping that Drew Evans is available. He may not be. They may hold him out again. Elijah Surratt hasn't played for 3 weeks in a row now. Khalil Benson has been banged up and hobbled and coming in and out of ball games with an ankle problem, I guess it would likely to be. That's what it looked like in the couple of ball games that he's been limping out of there. But he comes back in and plays all the time. And getting Brendan Frankie back, I think, might be a real key for this ball club too, because he kicked the ball so well throughout the season, and Quinn Warren's done a really nice job subbing in as a sophomore on kickoff and so on, but I don't think quite to the level of what Frankie was previously. And
what's the latest on Frankie?
I can't answer that. I just know he's questionable or he's out for this game. He's not out for the season, and Drew Evans is not out for the season. So
no.
Anyway.
I'll be honest with you. I don't expect to see Drew Evans until the Big Ten championship. If not, I don't know. We don't know how serious the injury was. Obviously serious enough to keep him out this long.
Right.
So I don't know. It to me, it would be, hey, if they're 100% plus, then okay, let them play to knock some rust off. But if they're not 100% plus, I'm keeping them for possibly the CFP run. That's going to be a question.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Guys like Evans and Surratt, who have not played, and Frankie, all have not played in quite some time. So all three of those guys need to knock some rust off too. And you'd like to get them, if they're capable, if it doesn't cause them an issue, or if they're still being cautionary with their thinking process about those particular players, don't play them. But if there's no doubt that these guys can help you later on, you keep them out if there's questions about their health. But you also would like to get those guys back into action, just to get them back into action, so it's not like they're going in there cold with the hits and all those kinds of things that you have to deal with.
Absolutely. Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers. Where can they catch you tonight and Thursday?
Yep, looking forward to it.
Hoosier Hanks?
No, it's not Thursday. No.
Oh, no show. Like Wednesday?
We had our last show.
That's right, you had show last week.
The bye week. Right. Yeah.
Football. Yeah. Now, is football done no matter how far they go?
Talk shows are done, yes. The coaches' shows are done. Yeah.
You can head to Hoosier Hanks tonight. Don will be there. Don, thank you very much. Appreciate you, boss.
All right. Thanks, bud. See ya.
You betcha. There he is, the Don of all broadcasters, joining us here on Indiana Sports Speed Radio.